I am the big tank.
On the battlefield of life, nothing's harder than a tank. Yeah, have you ever met a man, heart's full of love, bigger than a tank?
Big tank.
He served in a few wars, he's a veteran that stands for a cause. For the best interviews and news, just keep it glued to the
Tank. I
tank.
am the tank. Big
Big
tank.
Tank Talk.
Tank.
Big Tank Talk.
Tank. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Big Tank Talk. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing to you a former truck driver, a mother, a grandmother, owner of an adorable little dog, and a dear friend, Ankles2.0. Ankles, welcome to Big Tank Talk.
Hi. And don't
All
forget
right,
Baby Vet, too.
first question's always the same. Tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be on Clapper.
Gosh, that was like, 5 years ago that I was on Clapper. Different account now, so that's the reason why there's not much on this one. But actually, I was part of a militia 5 years ago, and we were trying to basically recruit and let people know that, the militia that we were part of, that, if you wanted to defend your Constitution, we didn't care who you were. We'd bring you in. But then they all kind of drizzled away, basically, and I'm pretty much the only one left out of the group that's still on Clapper. Like I said, I've been here for 5 years. I've met people face to face, being a truck driver going around. I love the people on here. Absolutely love it.
Well, and we're glad you're here. And welcome in, Amy. Always good to see you. All right. Obviously, first question I want to ask is, how long were you a trucker?
15 years.
And what got you interested in driving a big rig?
My husband. He was a truck driver when we met. He went to doing, he was over the road. And when we first met, then he went to the dump truck so that we can, be home every night, because I wasn't driving at the time. I was working at Walmart or something like that.
All right. Tina wants to know, do lot lizards try to pick up women too?
Yes. Yeah, they do. They
So
don't
let me
care.
ask you, in 15 years, what was the biggest challenge about being a truck driver?
The biggest challenge, it, you'd think it would be, I would say it would be about like being a woman in the trucking industry, and it really isn't that. The biggest challenge is the way the way people perceive truck drivers.
Right.
That we're unwashed, we're uncouth, we are don't care, that we will do anything just to get to our next destination. Yes, we would do that, but we're not going to kill somebody to get to our next destination. But a lot of people don't think of truck drivers as having feelings.
Right.
And being,
So,
because like my father passed away while I was a truck driver. My husband passed away while I was a truck driver, and I still had to drive.
right. I understand that. So Paul wants to know, what's your favorite place you visited while being a trucker?
I have been all over the states, and I really could not pinpoint one place, because it's more of the interaction that I got with people that I met on the road, like people that are on here
Right.
and I was able to go and meet up with them and them come meet me. So I really don't have a place like that.
Okay. Ms. Red Rose, who is a future interview guest, I want you to know, ask, because you're a woman, do you feel the challenges are harder as a truck driver?
That that's a good question. Me personally, no. Um, Actually, there are times to where it's a lot easier being a female truck driver. Like if you're trying to get into that dock door,
Right.
um, there's a lot of times that I could get into that dock door before my husband could have gotten into that dock door. Stuff like that. But there are some women out there that make it a challenge, and then there's people like me that I just go with the flow. I mean, if you're gonna attack me for being a woman in your industry, then to me that's your issue, not mine. I'm gonna keep doing my job and keep going.
Absolutely right. Women are as capable as men of handling those big rigs.
Yeah,
Tina wants to know. Tina wants to know, what's the worst accident you've seen on the road?
and that's another hard one, because I've seen so many. I will tell you about the one. It's not really an accident, but being a truck driver, I was able to see it, whereas the other people couldn't. Um, I mean, I've seen cars totaled. I mean, in pieces
Wow.
because of hitting, not paying attention and hitting the truck driver, or a truck driver being stupid and falling asleep at the wheel and taking somebody out. I mean, there's so many variables out there. But the worst thing that I've seen on the road, the one that stuck with me after all these years, we were in Arizona. And in Arizona, I've noticed there's certain areas to where they have these walls that they build up around the gas stations and stuff. So
Yep.
you can see the gas station and you can see the top of cars, but you can't see what's actually going inside. Well, in what, like at the pumps and stuff, until you actually go in, or pull in to get fuel. Or, well, being a truck driver, we sit up a lot higher. Um, and we happened to go by and we saw the tail end of this man who parked at the pump, got out of his car, took the shotgun, and shot himself right there at the pump.
Oh,
And unfortunately, we got to see, because they didn't have to cover him up because nobody can see. All the cars sit low, but unfortunately, we got to see it.
wow.
So, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there and stupid people.
What would you say was the worst thing about being a trucker?
Being away from my family. That
How
was the
hard was it?
worst.
How hard
Huh?
was it to balance being a mom and a trucker at the same time?
Well, by the time I started truck driving, she was like, Lindsay was, I think she was like 16, and she had pretty much moved out on her own, anyways, at that time. Um, it was 16, 17, something like that. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I asked you the hardest thing about balancing being a mom and a trucker.
I was lucky enough, my daughter was old enough to take care of herself when I went into truck driving.
Okay.
So I didn't really experience being a mom and having to take care of my family because she had already been out.
I understand. Um, During your 15 years as a trucker, what's the longest you were away from home?
I think in the beginning, my husband and I, we were team driving because we team drove for 13 of those 15 years. The longest him and I stayed out was probably about 6 months.
Okay.
We didn't have a house to go to. We didn't have an apartment. We didn't have anything. We stayed with family and stuff when we did go home. So it was like, just keep going.
Right. What would you say is the one thing about trucking that people that have never been truckers will never understand?
The everyday life of a truck driver. um, Everyday life. Being in those trucks. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have to move those comments to the side because I'm already forgetting your question because I'm reading those comments.
Okay.
What was the
I thought
question
that,
again?
and that does work for some people. It's not, if you slide them aside, then you don't get distracted.
Yeah, and
The
that's what
question again, one thing about trucking that people that have never been truckers will never understand. You were answering that.
the it's pretty much the whole deal. Um, the stress, the hours that we have to do, the making the freight on time is pretty much the whole job. I mean, people think we get into our trucks and we drive, and that's all we do, which is not what we do. We sit there and we get out, we hook trailers, unhook trailers. I mean, I used to pull doubles, so I used to hook up doubles together, and the paperwork, and then what DOT says what we can and can't do, how many hours that we drive, sleeping in the truck all the time, not being able to get near your family and stuff like that.
Right.
That's a hard thing that people don't understand.
All right. I didn't ask Tina's question. I went back and find it. She says the trucking industry a safe place for women, especially alone at night in the truck stops.
Okay, I've only experienced maybe once or twice to where I was like really uncomfortable in a situation and I could not move because of my hours were out.
Right.
You have to be more vigilant about what's going on around you. Um,
Okay,
but
Ronnie.
there's
Yeah.
things that you can do, like taking the straps and strapping them, from one arm of the door to the other arm of the door and strapping them down to where they can't open up the doors and stuff like that. I had a bat, and truthfully, yes, I had a gun in my truck the whole time too. I was
Good for
protected.
you. So Karen, which is Rockin' Horse, wants to know, and I'm just going to do the motion for you. But did kids in cars as you were on the road do that? And did you beep for them?
Kids, yes. Adults, no. Because they're actually getting to a point they call it distracted driving if we're sitting there blowing a horn for the kids and stuff like that now.
Yeah, I understand. Let me ask you this: how hard is it to eat healthy when you're on the road as a trucker?
When you have two people living in there, it's extremely hard because one person's going to bed when the other person's getting up. And like I was a wife, so I was supposed to make sure that I took care of both of us, feeding both of us, and it's extremely hard. So you get placent and like, okay, why don't we just go ahead and hit McDonald's up?
Right.
When I was solo, it was a lot easier because all I had to do was just worry about me. I had more room in the fridge to where I can keep my food that I brought from home and prepared to eat instead of going into the truck stops.
Yeah, I understand. You can't argue with the convenience of hitting a McDonald's or a Burger
Right.
King or something like that, even though they're really not good for the human for human consumption, to be honest.
Yes.
Um, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen while driving as a trucker? Like in the other cars, or
that I'm allowed to say on here.
this is an adult app and it goes onto YouTube. It's adult there too. You're allowed to say whatever you like.
Oh my gosh. I know that's going to be a question right there all by itself. So I think I'm just going to leave that one when that question comes up about other people and what they're doing in their cars and stuff. But the funniest thing I've ever seen, um, I can't help it. It goes right back to this girl. I cannot forget every time her face. She thought she was going to be funny. She was in a truck or in a pickup truck with her boyfriend, and they drove past me, and she went to go flash me. Well, when she passed me, and she just happened to notice, like at the last second, right before she went to go show her boobs, that I was a female and not a guy in that driver's seat.
That's
And she
funny.
looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was like ready to lift mine up just to give her the shock of her life. That one was kind of funny, but yeah, the things that okay, real quick, if you don't want anybody to see what you're doing in your vehicle, do not drive past or park next to a truck driver. We see everything.
No doubt. Paul wants to know, did you work for the same company for all 15 years you drove?
No. Um, the turnover's real bad in the trucking industry. Um, but the last company I worked for, I worked 11 years out of that 15 with them.
Right on.
And it's unheard of to have 15 years into the industry and only have three different trucking jobs.
Right.
It's very unheard of because drivers will drop in a heartbeat to go to another company to see if they can make better money.
Can't argue with that. Trying to make better money though.
Yeah.
Tina wants to know if you ever drove down a road you weren't supposed to while a trucker.
Yes. um. Yes. Matter of fact, New Orleans. I about took out the sign. Let's just say that. And I think it was a sign and a light post together. I about took it out because I was on the wrong. Yeah, I took the wrong way.
Understand? Lindsay, your dear daughter wants to know: do you ever feel like you would turn over during a storm?
Yeah, knowing her and and how she feels about storms. There were a few times there. Yes. I felt as though that wind was hitting my truck so hard that I was going to flip, and that's why driving
I
and
can under, I can understand that, Ankles. I was once driving home from visiting a cousin, and it was during a storm, and the wind blew me 3 lanes to the right. The only reason I wasn't involved in a crash is because it was late at night and there was nobody near me. But if there had been people on the road, it'd been like traffic, I would definitely hit somebody with that.
right.
Uh,
I mean, and see, and I pulled doubles for so long, so that was those two trailers that what they called the wiggle wagons.
yeah,
Um, and I've driven those for so long that I was comfortable driving in a storm with them if one of them was empty because I knew what to expect.
right.
But they're dangerous. But I mean, if you have, like I've always told my daughter, if you see a truck driver slowing down in a weather condition, slow down.
Absolutely.
We're doing it for a reason, and we're a lot heavier than you. So
Excellent
just remember
question. Paul wants to know, what's the most dangerous road you've driven on and why?
Construction. There was this one bridge that I had to go over every time. Um, you had like maybe that much on both sides of the truck
Oh, wow. So
to
you
get
had to have really good control.
right. And when it starts, the wind picking up, because this went from Nebraska to Missouri. This little bridge was from because I was on the Toro count and my husband was in the back seat, but I had no issue with it. I drove it. I've driven it so many times. And when my husband went to go drive it, that's when I cringed because he actually hit the barriers with the truck.
Right.
Just barely, but and I did it all the time because I was the one that drove that route all the time.
Right. Ms. Red Rose asked, knowing what you know now, would you go back and do it all over again?
Like I told everybody now, the reason why I kept doing it was not only because of the million safe miles that I got from when I got, for safety. That was a big deal. But the biggest thing is about it all, if I could go and do it again, would I do it? If I can, yes. Because of the money, the money, the money. You can make really good money being a truck driver.
Yep. Tabby, my sweetheart, wants to know, have you ever had to use a runaway ramp?
Thank God, no. And I've never had to see anybody use one.
Now, I'm going to ask your question in a minute, Karen, but first I want to ask you this. Having been a trucker for 15 years, which part of the country is the hardest as a trucker to drive?
To me, um, that would be out there, the West, Utah, Wyoming, places like that. And the reason why is because you have so many miles of nothing.
I
At least
understand.
when you're on the eastern side, you have things you can go through and you can be like, oh, I've gotten this far. You can see stuff. But out there, there's nothing out there.
I understand, Ankles. We once took a trip to Spokane, Washington, which the route we took us straight across Montana, which takes forever to get across if you're driving east to west. So I get it. There's a whole lot of nothing out there.
Right.
Let me see. Right,
And
Karen wants to know if
I
you
heard
have a
the one
CB.
about the CB. My CB name was Ankles.
Okay. Lindsay wants to know, did you ever hear Candy Cane on a CB radio?
I know what she's talking about, but thank God no. But there is a story about the CB that is funny to me. But you talking about that movie? I've never had to deal with something like that. But I'll tell you a quick story about the CB. My husband warned me. My husband had done at least 10 years or more of truck driving before I had actually went and drove with him. And he told me, he goes, never, never click that button on that mic twice. And I'm like, why? And he's like, just don't do it. Well, come to find, I did it one night because I thought he was messing with me when he said that. I clicked it at night. It was at night, and I clicked it, and they said go to channel 23. I went to channel 23. It was male driver picking up another male driver. If you
Oh,
know what I
wow.
mean. Yeah.
So Ms. Red Rose wants to know, if you encounter someone that wants to be a truck driver, what advice would you give them?
Be sure that I can give you two pieces of advice that will help you out. One, be sure that this is what you want to do because you will be lonely out there if you are by yourself. You will be lonely. Um, the rate of truck drivers committing suicide for being out there is actually it is high. Just be ready that you're able to do that. The other thing is the biggest thing I can tell a newbie on truck driving to never turn down a load. Never. You show them that you want to work, whether if that load is a mile down the road or 2,000 miles down the road. As long as you take that load, you show that you want to work.
Right. So bet you I am Beck, which is Becky, and it's good to see you in here, Becky. She says it's true that the brakes and gas pedals are hard on a woman's insides.
Is it okay? I'm not, and I'm not being a smartass, but my question to you is it? Do you have issues driving your car? It's the same thing that when you drive the truck, is the yes, the engine's bigger. Yes, you have automatics. Yes, you have manuals, and it's just driving. It's like driving another vehicle, a car. I mean,
She asked that because she said she'd heard something like that years ago.
I have never heard. I've never heard, but to me, it's like driving. You know, going out there and getting in my truck, my pickup truck, or my Jeep,
Right.
or sorry, yeah, the white one's mine now. Getting out there in the pickup trucks and the Jeep or a car that has that's a manual or automatic. It doesn't matter. It's the same. You have the same feel.
Becky says so.
No,
It is.
it's not harder.
You didn't push your comments aside, did you? It's okay.
I loved my Cummins.
Having driven all over the country, what would you say is the most beautiful stretch of highway you've ever driven?
The most beautiful stretch of highway I've ever driven in America. To me, truthfully, is I mean, it depends on what your beauty is, what you think is beautiful. And to me, the surprisingly enough, Utah and Wyoming and all of that, where there's nothing there, but it is beautiful because there's nothing there. There's no buildings, there's no houses. It's the way God made it.
Right. That's one of the reasons I enjoyed the drive across Montana, even though it took forever, because Montana is a beautiful state.
But it's still beautiful because it's not dotted with all these cities and
But
towns.
as somebody who's traveled back and forth to the East Coast, I still love driving through the Great Smoky Mountains. Uh,
I'm more of a desert girl. I love it. I love that stuff. So that's
no
good.
problem. Paul wants to know, have you driven all of Route 66, but not as a trucker?
No, but I'm getting there. I'm trying to. I'm trying to get out. You know, now that I'm no longer truck driving, and I'm getting out there to uh, explore more. Like I've got a trip fixing to go up to go see Tank and everything. Um,
Looking forward to that, by the way.
I can't wait.
Just
um,
remember to give us an advance notice. Tabby doesn't like surprises like that.
yeah,
Even family, even if it's her family, she likes to know beforehand if you're coming.
I know. But just because we can reach out to her, we don't have to reach out to you.
That's right.
But no,
So,
I've done part of Route 66, and I'm getting out there more and doing it and stuff.
right on. Mrs. Red Rose wants to know, besides trucking, what's the one thing you'd like us to know about you?
Well, trucking is no longer my life. Um, I have I'm a mother of two daughters, a grandmother of four grandchildren. I've got three granddaughters that live right next door, and I've got a grandson out in Texas. So, and I love to come up on here and talk and make people smile. That's my deal. I love to
And
make
she
people.
does. I'll also mention, because she didn't, although she might mention it later, she is going to be starting a business.
Yes. If y'all follow Jarita and go to her shows, she is starting to sell some of my. Um, she sells some of my jewelry. Thanks, Lens. You so funny.
So, Vanilla Gorilla said, seeing so much of the U.S. and its vastness, do you believe the overpopulation rhetoric?
That is overpopular. You know, truthfully, I think we need to close our borders and stop bringing in people and take care of. I don't know about the population, but I think we need to, real quick, and I won't go any further, just close the borders, take care of our people that are here, take care of us,
Agreed.
and then move on.
Absolutely. Here you go. What did 15 years on the road teach you about you?
Oh, wow. That I am very independent and I am a very strong woman, that I can do things that I set my mind to. Um, she's gonna make me cry. I know she's gonna make me cry. Lindsay is. Um, just knowing within myself that if I put my mind to something, I can do it.
Absolutely. And Lindsay says that you're a strong woman, which I happen to agree with her.
Uh,
Um, having spent 15 years on the road traveling all over the country, in your experience, would you say that people are generally good or not so much?
Generally good. You do have people out there that, that want to rush life. Those are the ones, those are the ones that you have the issue with, the ones that want to sit there and go cross 3 lanes of highway just to cut you off, just to get off of the exit. Stop rushing. Stop rushing.
Tina wants to know, who is your favorite artist?
As in music or what? I don't
I
actually.
think she's talking like as in painting and art like that, because that's
You
what she
are.
does. She's a finger painter.
I know you are. I want to say that because I love William over here.
You know, Miss Red Rose said, if someone described you in 3 words, what would they say?
I don't know.
Lindsay says, crazy, clumsy, and awesome. I would say, love your smile.
That's what I was going to say. Love your smile. Because that's all I ever want to do is just make people smile. I don't care
Vanilla
about
Gorilla, I'm going to
anything
break your
else.
question down into 2 questions, and it's going to be slightly different. Um, with respect to driving, which is the city you most hated driving in?
Oh, the city that I most hated driving in. Um, hmm. It's just a hard one. I mean, because I've done Chicago, I've done Atlanta, I've done Dallas, I've been in LA, I've been, all these major cities that everybody talks about. But for me personally, um, all of them, all of those right there, if you
Having
can,
having
huh?
driven in a lot of big cities, they are pretty similar to drive in. Easy to get aggravated. Always have
Right.
traffic.
But I mean,
Um,
it's the way you get treated too when you're driving a big truck through
which
those
city is
cities.
which city is the best?
What city is the best to drive through? I've actually, I mean, you know what? I'm gonna actually say about the same town, the same cities I've said, because if you can hit them at the perfect time and not have to
Mhm.
get stuck in traffic or whatever, if you hit them at the perfect time, like in Dallas, the lights. the different buildings, the Nashville. I mean, it's just the skylines. They're beautiful.
I agree. What's the worst case of road? Paul wants to know what's the worst case of road rage you've ever experienced or seen?
We actually had a man on the back roads of Texas where there are no lights, no nothing, and you have cows that run out in front of you. We actually had a man who was aggravating my husband when he was driving and had kept turning them bright lights on and everything. And he actually got in front of my husband and stopped my husband.
Oh wow!
And he started walking toward the truck. And as soon as, because I'm sitting there and I'm trying to hold on to him and beg him not to go outside because I know he's going to go confront that guy that just actually got us stopped. It was a 2-lane road. And when my husband opened up the door, the lights came on in the cab and he realized on how big my husband was and got back into the car, back into his pickup truck and drove off.
Right on. Mrs. Red Rose wants to know who's had the biggest influence on your life.
The biggest influence on my life. There's several people that I can mention that have, um, like my dad and my mom and my husband, but they're all passed away. But the one that tops them all, that still has that influence over everything, um, she's actually right there in chat.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
fair enough. What's been the biggest life challenge you had to experience?
Life challenge. Oh my God, I've had so many of them, but the big, sorry, I'm starting to cry now on this one. Was the loss of my husband back in July.
And I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make you upset.
I don't know, you're not making me upset. I mean, I had a bad weekend. It was a great, awesome freaking weekend. I had one little part that just threw me off, and I didn't realize that they were playing mine and my husband's song at this little bar and grill that we went to, and
Right.
it tore me up.
I understand. I want to ask you this then. Now, my friends on here know that you provided the recliner that I've had since I've been home from the hospital after my heart attack and surgery. Knowing that was not just, it wasn't like just buying somebody a drink. What inspired you to do that? And I am extremely grateful for it, by the way.
I know you are. You needed it. You couldn't afford it. You needed it. I had the money. I could. So I helped. That was it.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Ms. Red Rose wants to know what is the lesson you had to learn the hard way?
Lesson I had to learn the hard way. There's several of them, you know. Learning to live. Um, Learning to live again is the biggest one. When my husband passed, um, knowing that I have um, a liver disease that could eventually kill me, and still learning to live with that. So yeah, I would say that it's just my hardest lessons that I've heard is learning. It's taking care of me.
That's not a surprise. Most people most of us find it harder to take care of ourselves than to take care of others.
Yeah.
So I understand that. Becky wants to know, she's in her 40s. What advice would you give yourself in your 40s?
Everything I'm learning now. Um, just, I mean, because, yeah, I'm in my 50s, so, I mean, I'm not that much older than you, but still enough. Um, learn to live.
Let
Learn
me
to
let
live.
me let me ask that question the way I normally ask it in my interviews. If you could go back in time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Get as much, what advice I would get, stop worrying about the other people, worry about yourself. Um, get that education in, because that education is going to help you more than anything else.
Absolutely. Ms. Red Rose coming up with some great questions. She wants to know, is there a challenge you faced that helped shape you into who you are today?
Yeah, you can say I've had several challenges that have said, wake up. Um, sorry, Lens, but and if you ever want to know more about this information here, you can contact my daughter, Lindsay. She would be able to tell you more, since she lives it every day. But the life changes. My granddaughter being born with the Pura syndrome, and she's a special needs child now. Well, she will be for the rest of her life.
Right.
Um, that changed us. The death of my mother right after the day my granddaughter came home from the NICU, my mother passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Finding out that I had a brain aneurysm that could have killed me, and I had it for like 10, 15 years and didn't know. Um, my husband passing, knowing that I have a stage 4 non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. You name it, I pretty much have gone through it.
Ankles,
And
you are indeed a badass. What makes you so resilient?
that right down there, my family.
That makes absolute sense to me. Um,
And the ones that don't know, Lindsay's my daughter. Get out of there.
bro, who would you say was your biggest role model?
My daddy. My daddy was.
Okay, here's a simpler question. Now that you're not on the road, what is the luxury you have now that you didn't have on the road?
The freedom to go wherever the hell I want to go, when I want to go.
I absolutely understand that. Ms. Red Rose wants to know what motivates you to keep going during difficult times. And I
Family.
get that.
My daughter, yeah, y'all just, my daughter and I, I lost control, lost custody. I was scammed of my oldest daughter. So it had been just me and Lindsay. That's my child. I do have, I am in contact with my oldest daughter, but it's not the same. She had another woman raise her, and, that's her mom. But I'm Lindsay's mom because I had her the whole time.
I get
She
it.
gave me 3 beautiful granddaughters. She is an amazing woman. So,
Uh,
yeah, family.
what would you say is the greatest gift you've ever received?
I bet y'all can guess who I'm going to say, what I'm going to say.
Either your grandchildren or Lindsay?
Lindsay because she gave me those grandchildren.
Absolutely. Is there what's a family tradition that you started with Lindsay, perhaps, that you still observe?
What have we started? We just well, no, well, no. What have we started? I can tell you so. My dad started, but not me. Um, yeah, new beginnings. I mean, we're starting everything new. I mean, because I've been gone for so long, it's just like being out on the road. Yeah, I know. I was going to say that, Lens, but Papa actually started that. My dad, and we keep it alive. That's it. My daughter and I keep this alive, this tradition that my dad started. Um, my
Well,
dad,
that's what
huh?
makes a tradition from your dad to you to Lindsay.
Yeah, my dad, he'd lay on the couch and he wouldn't say anything. He'd just he'd pop his hand up when he was laying there, and he'd go like this. He'd just flip you off. That was his way of saying I love you.
Get that.
So
All
that's what we do to each other. And yes, my young granddaughters do the same thing. But that's the only time that they're allowed to do that.
right. All wants to know. So, having been on the road for 15 years, and because we're your friend, we know you live in an RV. Why did you decide to buy an RV?
I had a house. I really did. I had a 2,100 square foot, 2-story, beautiful house. It was my dream house. But I sold it because that's where my husband passed away at.
Right.
And then I wanted to be near my grandbabies. So, you know what? An RV is a little bit bigger than what I'm used to when I was in the truck all the time. So it's just enough room.
Makes sense to me. Let me ask you this: 15 years on the road. What does Ankles playlist sound like?
Uh, actually, Ankles doesn't listen to music when she's driving.
Really?
Nope. I I've never been a big on music. Mine is audiobooks. Since I couldn't actually read the audiobook or read a book because I love to read. Poor Lindsay, I tried to get her to do it when she was younger, and I could never get her to sit down and read a book. But I would sit down and read a book all day long.
Mhm.
So I listen to books.
That makes sense.
And if you want to know what kind of authors and stuff like that, I love murder mysteries.
Makes sense too. I like reading those. So,
Yeah.
so if you wrote a book about your life, what would the title be?
I don't know.
You know what I think? Resilient would be a great title for your life story because you've been through a lot, you've come through everything, and you keep on smiling.
Yeah. I mean, I've gone a lot. I've gone through a lot in my life. I guess mine because it's the one thing that people are starting to catch on, but a lot of people don't, everybody on this app, they love to say love your face. I don't say love your face, so I think my title on my book would be Love Your Smile
I like that too.
because that's what I try to do. I just want people to smile around me.
Okay, another question from your time on the road. What's the best hole in the wall restaurant you've ever eaten at while on the road?
Oh, oh my God. Um, Restaurants. I couldn't tell you the names of them, but I could tell you what state they're in. Because it's been a while since I've been to them. It's certain places that I always stopped at when I went through certain, when I was going through certain routes, and I did a lot of that because I was a wild card, but I was kind of dedicated on that lane, but I didn't have like a set go here, go here, go here, back to here. Mine
Gotcha.
was wherever they send me to, but it was all paper mills. Um, I've had like in Oklahoma, there was a steak place that I would love to go to. Um, I could tell you that most of the restaurants that I have gone to sit down and eat were the truck stops that don't have a big name.
Right.
When they actually have a sit down restaurant and you can sit in there and enjoy that meal and everything and the people around you and stuff like that, that is pretty much any small American owned business got my business.
Absolutely. Paul wants to know, what was your favorite truck stop?
It depends. If I had to do laundry, if I was staying there for a 34-hour reset, if I was just staying there just long enough to get some sleep, but most of the time you would see me at a Love's, um, because our company, we could get fuel there. We got points, so we had free showers, free coffee, stuff like
Right
that.
on.
Um,
By the way, Lindsay says don't go to Denny's in Franklin, Kentucky.
she's warned me about that. I I think Denny's is okay, but I think they're overpriced for their food. And pretty much, there's only one thing I get from Denny's, and that was the trying to stay that healthy part. It's the spinach and tomato omelet.
Big says hello to his 2 taxi drivers.
Yeah, jarhead. Love you too. And no, I'm
Um,
not taking you nowhere today because I have an interview, so hush.
Before I get to the next question, I want to take a minute and let you guys know. Excuse me. Next week, I will be interviewing Shade Reaver. Um, in my mind, he is the 3D printing guru. If you ever wanted to have one, if you had questions about him, that man is definitely the one to ask. You can anticipate I'll ask him a lot of questions about 3D printing during his interview. So that is my interview for next week. Just want to let you guys know. Having said that, Miss Red Rose asked, what message would you like to share with everyone listening?
Oh. I know it's so cliche, but just be kind to everybody. Pay it forward. Help each other out. Um, the fighting and the arguing and the hatred and all that stuff there, it's ridiculous. We
Agreed.
need to bump a person up, not beat them down. That's
Absolutely. Um, and that pay it forward, pay it forward attitude. I raised my girls to have it. I know my younger daughter Olivia does that. She practices pay it forward whenever she can. And Lizzie at 12 believes in that, so she's being raised the right way as well.
yeah.
Um, Having been all over the country, what's the most iconic landmark you've ever seen? Even if it's just from the seat of your truck.
Statue of Liberty.
I've never seen that. I've seen it in pictures and on TV. I've never seen it in person though.
I actually got to see it. My husband was driving through there, and I actually got to see the Statue of Liberty, and that was the most iconic. Because the one thing people keep forgetting about this country here, that we all immigrated here. one way or another, we all came here, and that Statue of Liberty, the ones that are here and here like they're supposed to be, you know, they're legal, is a good thing. That's why we fight for this country, because we all come here to have a better life. And what more iconic can you get than
Absolutely. What was your favorite model of truck?
I can name, I can tell you that I love the Volvos and stuff like that, but I was in love with that Pete. I had a 2025 379 Pete with an X15 Cummins engine that I absolutely loved. And that's probably my favorite truck.
Right on. Is there a place in the United States that you haven't seen that you still would like to see?
Alaska and Hawaii. It's the
Yeah,
only
it's kind of hard to
places I
truck,
haven't been. Yeah.
kind of hard to truck to Hawaii. Although I heard that that Democrat lady from Hawaii proposed building a train track that runs from the West Coast to Hawaii.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's everybody else's response when she did that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, as a trucker and somebody who spent 15 years on the road, and I know you have definite thoughts on this, what does freedom mean to you?
Oh, yeah. Freedom. Oh, Lordy. That's
I know it's kind of a loaded question, but
no. Freedom to me is that Constitution. My 5 or 6 times great grandfather fought in the Revolutionary War. Come over here to make a better life. And that Constitution is not being upheld. But
right,
that is what I see as freedom. It's what we started with. And you can't pick and choose what part you want of it. That whole thing is our freedom.
absolutely couldn't agree more. Ankles, I hate to disappoint you, but there's no more questions.
Yeah.
However, uh, this is the time where I give my guests the opportunity to do a shout out for whoever or whatever you'd like, and this is your chance for that now.
Oh, shout out to people. Um, of course, Tank. You know, come on. Somebody who sits there and take the time out to get to know people like this. Definitely a big shout out. And all y'all know, Lindsay, that's in here. Lindsay.e, that's my daughter. She's a great person. She's very knowledgeable, even though that she does act a little airheaded sometimes. She has a very huge knowledge about Pure syndrome, about her daughter, my granddaughter. Bronan, y'all got to boost his sales up on his music. There's just so many. Tootie, you know, she's my best friend up on here. We've been friends since day one, 5 years. And there's just so many people that I would love to say. And I mean, we don't have the time. There's just a lot of people. If I'm following them, they're friends with me. Go follow them.
All right. On the heels of that, I would like, I do it about every week, but I want to shout out Fear the Reaper, my friend Paul. He screen records every interview so that I'm able to put them on YouTube on the following Wednesday at noon. I also want to specifically shout out today Ronan. Not only has he functioned as head mod today, but he's also been the one penning questions for me today. And that is very helpful. And it helps me keep the interview rolling. And Last but not least, Ankles, I appreciate you so much for agreeing to be my guest today. Um, I could probably go on for another hour asking you questions, but I can always ask you questions anytime.
Right.
I
It
hope
was.
that you were more relaxed once the interview started. I know you were kind of nervous going in.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody gets nervous getting ready to do because you don't know what to expect. So, but no, I thank you, and I thank everybody. Like you said, Paul doing what he's doing, and Ronan doing what he's doing. I thank y'all, and I thank you for choosing me to interview. I appreciate it.
Hello, Diva. It's good to see you, although I am wrapping up the interview. Um, but tune in next week. It'll be another great interview with another good friend, and I'm looking forward to that. Again, I want to thank Ankles for agreeing to be my guest today. I understand it can be a little nerve wracking, especially if you've never been interviewed before. But I do my best to make sure my guests feel comfortable and uh, that they understand I don't ever ask gotcha questions. If it comes across that way, it's not intentional. And if I ever do that, I hope they'll let me know so I can apologize appropriately. And having said that, guys, have a great rest of your Sunday. If you don't know Ankles, go check her out. Give her a follow. She's a great person and a very dear friend. And
Thank
with that,
you.
guys, I'll see you all around the Clapper streets.
Love you, smiles.
Love your smile.